What's up, guys? It's the Vongola Boss here, and today we're going to be unboxing and taking a look at the Switch 2. I'm excited. It's the first console I've ever been an early adopter for, and it was only right that it was for Nintendo because we go way back. From chewing the thumbstick caps off GameCube controllers, don't ask me why, I was like 5 years old, to catching Pokemon across 4 different Nintendo handhelds, to hitting home runs and nearly breaking the living room TV with the Wii, onto the best handheld Nintendo's ever made, in my opinion, the 3DS, into an era we don't like to talk about because sometimes you grow up and just grow apart. But then 10 years pass and you come back home like the prodigal son, which brings us to the year of our Lord 2025 and the next generation of Nintendo. So let's crack this bad boy open. Now, while I have footage of me unboxing this thing going on in the background, I want to ask you guys if you've picked up a Switch 2, and if so, how are you liking it so far? This thing has apparently set the record for most console sales at launch at 3 million, it's being reported online. So much for those who thought it was going to flop, but let's be honest here. Coming off the success of the Switch, there was no way that was going to happen. Right now, Nintendo quite literally has the momentum of a bullet bill. It selling well at launch was a foregone conclusion because diehard fans will do as diehard fans do, which I'm definitely not one, but I'll get into why I even chose to buy a Switch 2 later on. I am interested in seeing how the console does in the long term with more casual audiences, because that price is nothing to joke about. All in all, my Switch 2 haul comes out to just slightly over what a PS5 Pro would cost. Yeah, inflation, climate change, whatever they call it, is crazy, bro. You want to know what else is crazy? The lines of people I saw at the Best Buy I went to. The store was set to open up at 11 and I got there around 10:25 to see 2 lines of people. One that appeared to wrap around the whole right side of the building and then some. The other was long as well, but not anything egregious. Fortunately for me, that line happened to be the one for pre-orders. Funnily enough, there was one guy there who did not have a pre-order, and once he realized he was in the wrong line, had to make the walk of shame all the way to the back of the no pre-order line. And this was after they announced that they had no more tickets for people who did not pre-order the console. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. Now maybe it's because I'm getting older or that I'm just a homebody, but I nearly decided to skip out on the midnight release because I like sleeping. And the idea of standing outside for an extended period of time for a game console, albeit amongst fellow gamers, was not all that appealing. I was not about to be one of these people camped out in front of a store for 6+ hours, or in some cases, days, weeks, and even months. On top of that, I had no plans to play it that night. In fact, once I got home, I knocked out. But luckily, I was in and out of the store within 45 minutes. And it was fun to chat with people in line on what they were most excited for. Yes, laughs were had and memories were made. And bank accounts were hit harder than Mario's forward aerial. Now, to answer why I chose to pick up a Switch 2 at launch, when I usually wait 1.5 to 2 years to pick up a new console, the first and foremost reason is family and friends. I'm not the only gamer in my family, but I am the one that goes out of his way to get extra controllers and multiplayer games to play with siblings and cousins at family gatherings. You know, the Smash Bros, the Mario parties, the Mario Karts. Growing up, some of my most fond memories were sleepovers at my cousin's place where we'd play sports, ride bikes, and just have fun outside all day. And then we'd stay up late eating snacks and playing fighting games on the PS2. And now I've taken it upon myself to do the same for the next generation. So yes, even though I still think $80 for Mario Kart World is ridiculous, the memories I'm going to make over this generation with family and friends will be priceless. But that's the biggest reason why. Friends and family. If that was not a factor, I could have waited to get one of these things. I mean, I didn't bother picking up a Switch OLED until 2022, which was 5 years into the console's life cycle. The second reason is, and I guess you could count this as my first impressions of this console, are that it's the ideal Switch. And over the last 3 years, I've picked up a decent amount of Switch titles that ran very questionably on that hardware. And many of these titles I haven't finished or just stopped playing because they ran so poorly. I'm looking at you, Scarlet and Violet. And now being able to play these games at a stable 60 FPS and in some cases 4K resolution generation was enough to get me to bite. Again, I usually like waiting a couple of years after a console is released to see what exclusives the console is going to have and to let the general sentiment form around the console, because by then enough people will have gotten their hands on this thing to give accurate pros and cons of it. And patience is a virtue, especially with Nintendo, because they love to release updated models like every 2 to 3 years. First it'll be one with better battery life, then it'll be an OLED, or it'll be one with Joy-Cons that actually don't drift, which, speaking of, is pretty disappointing that Nintendo did not go with Hall effect joysticks here. I digress. I play my Switch somewhat regularly. It's definitely not my go-to console, but I want to be able to play through my backlog and in some cases replay games at a great performance. Those are the two main reasons of why I chose to buy this thing. And everyone will have their reasons for why they chose or chose not to buy a Switch 2. If you made it this far into the video, I'm curious to hear which camp you fall into. Now, let's move on to the accessories. The Switch 2 Pro controller is an interesting one. Honestly, if you have the first Pro controller, there's not much reason to get this one unless features like being able to power on your console via the controller, the C button for game chat, and the 2 mappable buttons on the back are worth the extra $15. For all of Nintendo's faults, they are pretty on point when it comes to backwards compatibility. And I doubt there's going to be any games this generation that have features outside of game chat, of course, that a regular Pro controller wouldn't be able to get you by with. And if you're someone like me who only uses Joy-Cons in handheld mode or for games that require them, like Mario Party, a Pro controller is a solid, although not necessary, investment. I will say the thumbsticks feel great, and the texture is an improvement to its predecessor. I'm not sure how to explain it, but it just feels better in your hand. Again, I chose to pick this up for gaming gatherings and because an extra Pro controller will prevent arguments and fights on who gets to use it. Now, the GameCube controller is for no other reason than nostalgia. When this controller was first announced, it was an instant buy for me. I don't plan to ever get an expansion pack membership because what do you mean by charging $50 a year to play emulated games? It's just strictly for Smash Bros. And other games I feel would play best with a GameCube controller. Plus, the old third-party one I had was wired and was prone to disconnecting randomly, so that solves that. I'm no expert on these types of controllers, and it has been a while since I've used one, but holding it in my hands felt oddly familiar yet foreign. It was heavier than I was expecting, you can't click the analog sticks, and I don't remember the L and R triggers having to be pressed in so deeply in order to get that click. Anyway, I'm just nitpicking. This is easily my favorite thing about the Switch 2 so far. I'm just hoping Nintendo gives us the HD versions of Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, instead of just the classics. Overall, I'm happy with my purchase of the Switch 2. Games look and play phenomenal on this thing. Mario Kart World is without a doubt the best Mario Kart has ever looked. 24 players, it's constant chaos, and the Knockout Tour really ups the tension of the races. So to close out this video, I'm just going to put up some footage of one of my first races online. And you know, it was something light. Took home that first place trophy. They had us in the first half, I'm not going to lie, but what's a great story without an epic comeback? So on that note, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new. That's all I got for this one. It's been the Vongola Boss, and I'll catch y'all next time. Peace.